Alright, in this video, we're going to look at the highlights from the first live stream that I did earlier today, and just going ahead and addressing some things that I've learned already. The mouse, you're not going to see the mouse pointer on the screen. I have a fix for that in future live streams. The chat pop-out window, I have now figured out how to show that in the live stream, but you will not see it in this video, unfortunately. The quality is not bad by any means, but it's still going to be some ways that I can tweak that and improve it. And then also the questions that I address here are right off the top of my head. So obviously you may tweak those to your liking as well. The things that we're going to discuss, the questions that were asked, a really cool idea with blurred images, using them in overlap groups. And then later on in this live stream, you'll see where we can have one image and we can have part of it blurred or dimmed, and we can have the other part of it crystal clear, so you can get some real nice effects there. You'll see that later on in the stream. And then also towards the end, a user did ask about artist tracks, the song title and then the artist name. When they change, it kept on shifting things up, down, left, and right, or whatever. And we do address that. We have a fix for that using stack groups and putting overlaps inside of those stack groups, and then using some rectangles inside of those overlap groups. But it will prevent the shifting. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so you're talking about blurred background, but you want to be able to do that to an image that's in an overlap group. I'll give that a shot. Let me load up a background. I'm just going to take away my phone screen for a second while I get an image up here. All right, so that's my car with my I Do Math license plate. I'm gonna go ahead and blur that. But you want to be able to do something similar to the actual image that you put inside of an overlap group. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but we're going to find out right now. All right, so there's that overlap group. I'm going to go ahead and add a shape into it. And that's going to be this square up here at the top. I'll just go ahead and add another quick image to it real quick. All right, so there's my sun. Okay, well, we have a blur there. Yeah, it seems like it's going to work. This image right here, I have inside of an overlap group. I just need to rotate this thing. Rotate it 90 degrees. And yeah, so what I have here is the background. The car is the actual background piece underneath the background tab in root. So I added an image there, and we can set its blur to whatever we want. And I think in a future update, I saw something where blur is going to go up to 200. I don't know what that's going to do. But then I have this overlap group right here, blur inside overlap group. I did a shape under FX, add your image for bitmap, and then you can just adjust its blur right there as well. And I guess you can do all this other stuff. Yeah, so we can dim it in and out and all that good stuff as well. I think I might, this is just me thinking off the top of my head. I don't know if this would be helpful, but here's what you could do if you want an image, part of an image blurred and part of an image not blurred. Let me do this. I'm going to add the same image twice. So I'm just going to go and add a shape. And again, we can do this inside of an overlap group as well. Check this out. I got an idea. Pop that in the center, and I'm going to go add an image. All right. And what we're going to do here, so I got him, see if, I don't know why he's not popping up the top of his head, but anyway. All right, so we got that square, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and copy this one, and I'm going to put it right on top of it. So I'm going to call one of them clear, and I'm going to call one of them blurred. And we're going to use a clip. I think this will work. So the blur, I'm going to go ahead and blur this image a little bit. All right. And now you can't even see the clear unless I, slide it like that. So there's the clear one, but I'm going to put that behind the blur. And what we're going to do is I'm going to add, let's suppose, I'll just do a rectangle for right now. And then this rectangle, I'm just going to make it the same width. Let me position this in the center. And watch what's going to happen here. So I'm going to take this rectangle that I have in the center, and I'm going to make it cover up, say, half of the picture. And I'm going to drag that rectangle right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a clip for this shape. If we go over to FX, go to Mask, and go to Clip Next Module, check out what that did. It's two images. Once this saves and applies, okay, maybe it's not working. It looks like, there it goes. Okay, so yeah, you can see a slight difference. Like this is the clear part and this is the blurred. So since I added the clip, it's going to it's clipping the blur, so it's showing only the bottom part of the blur, whereas the top part, the clear, this one here, it's going to show because that's not in the clip, whereas the blur is, if that makes any sense. And even if I come into this blur right here as well, just to show you that we are seeing two different images, if I dim that, so now you can see as I'm dimming that, I'm dimming the image here that I've called blur, but it's in clip, so it's only showing that part. That's one thing that clip can be useful in doing. Taylor, it should be possible. Let me go back and I'll just test it out real quick. It won't take too long. So take an overlap group, and inside of the overlap group we're going to pop two shapes, kind of doing the same way I did a while ago. And I'm just going to shoot that entire overlap group into the center, and I'm going to put that same image in that square right there. All right, so there's the car, and I'll keep this one as the clear one. I'm just going to copy and paste. Again, I'm still inside that overlap group, but for this one, this is the one that I'm going to apply the blur to, so I'm just going to name that way I don't get lost. And let's blur, and I'm also going to dim it a little bit as well, just so we can see it all. So image is blurred. I'm going to make it a little bit dim, and now you notice that the whole image is actually blurred and dimmed. But remember, we had a clear one. Here's the clear one. If I drag that, there's the clear one, but I have it sitting behind the blur, so we should be able to add a shape. I'm going to add a triangle this time to kind of, I don't know, just messing around with it a little bit different. Let's see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to find out. So there's that triangle. I'm going to go to FX, Mask, Clip Next Module, and then if I come back and slide this triangle above that blur, check that out. So we have the clear image, but then that triangle is clipping that blurred and dimmed image. So you can really get some cool effects with that. I've never even thought about doing this before, so that's pretty cool. I like that. What's up, Darian Dudley? How you doing, man? So you're using a code to display album track title. Is there a way you can stop it from shifting all your other things around when it switches songs? Absolutely. What you'd want to do there, let me get Spotify going. And I'm going to just load up or I'm just going to go back into KLWP. Darian Dudley, if you are trying to display the album track title and you don't want it to shift all the other things around, probably something just for starters, depending on how familiar you are with KLWP, is to use a stack group. And it's still going to shift a little bit. However, there's a way we can get around that as well. I'm going to delete, well, let me just come in here and delete all this stuff. I'm going to start from fresh. So adding a stack group, let's do 2 overlap groups inside of this stack group. So one overlap group, I'm going to put a shape. And this, by us adding a shape in this overlap group, I'm going to do a rectangle. Now you can make this rectangle transparent. So something like that. And I'm just going to take this whole stack group that I have here. I'm going to position it in the center of the screen. And I'm just going to take that rectangle and I'm going to make it slightly transparent. Again, you can make it totally transparent, but this is just to serve as like a space to hold all of the text for your song title. So inside of this overlap group that I have that rectangle in, I'm going to add a text item. And I'm going to set this to the music artist. So I'll do current artist, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And now, whatever this Red Hot Chili Peppers, of course, you want to set this such that you do like a fixed width. That way, if this artist is going to be longer than the rectangle, you know, if I bump it to right about somewhere in there, you can center that if you'd like. We'll just come down here to align, set it to center. That's going to keep the artist inside of this rectangle. Now, obviously, you might have to make your rectangle a little bit bigger or smaller. But now, if we come and take this entire overlap group that's inside of this stack group, if I copy and paste it, now we have 2 of them. And what this is going to allow us to do, obviously, we can adjust the size of these rectangles. And let me come back to the second one. And I'm just going to change this one to the track title. And what that's going to allow us to do there, I mean, this is just a very basic setup. And if we change songs, it's still going to, you know, as long as this song title does not get any longer than whatever rectangle you have, that it's going to stay inside of that rectangle and it's not going to shift things around. But again, what you want to do there probably too is make your rectangles completely transparent. That way you don't see them. Like that. And then I'm going to come back to the one with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And of course, you can adjust the size of your rectangles. And now as we change song titles, let me do some quick buttons real quick to test this out. I'm just going to put this directly in root. I'm just going to do a shape just to change the songs real quick. All right, so that square up there, just there for me to have a way to change my song titles real quick. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger and watch what happens. Granted, we set up the fixed width correctly and all that stuff and those invisible rectangles. Now as I change the song titles, this isn't, and none of these song titles are real. Let me pause this. But the song titles aren't long, but if you had long ones, it's going to stay inside of that rectangle. So probably Darian Dudley, a good way to approach that is probably to create a stack group, do those rectangles like I did there. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think about that. And there you have it. That's highlights from the first stream I did earlier today. And You know, we did cover quite a few different things there. I like the idea. I like answering questions right off the top of my head. It can get some instant answers out there to you all. So if you have any suggestions or whatever, you know, leave them in the comments section below. And that's it for this video. I hope it helped.